Have you ever felt that strange tension when you share good news with a friend and their smile doesn't quite reach their eyes? That moment when celebration feels hollow, when support sounds scripted, when something invisible shifts between you. This isn't about dramatic betrayal or obvious cruelty. This is about something quieter, something that lives in the space between words. The jealous friend doesn't announce themselves with grand gestures. They exist in small moments that make you second-guess your own perception. A conversation that somehow always circles back to their struggles when you mention your wins. A compliment that arrives wrapped in something that doesn't feel quite like kindness. The friend who is always there for your failures but strangely absent for your successes. We tell ourselves we're imagining it. We make excuses for them because the alternative feels too painful to accept. But your body knows before your mind does. That tightness in your chest when you're about to share something exciting with them. The way you find yourself downplaying your achievements before you've even spoken. The instinct to make yourself smaller so they can feel bigger. I remember the first time I realized someone I loved was happy for me only when I was struggling. When my life was hard, they were my biggest cheerleader, my constant support, my safe place. But the moment things started going well, they became a critic, a skeptic, someone who found problems in every victory. And I twisted myself into knots trying to understand why my happiness made them uncomfortable. The cruelest part was that I started to feel guilty for doing well. I would catch myself hiding good news, minimizing accomplishments, even sabotaging opportunities because maintaining their approval felt more important than celebrating my own growth. I had learned to associate my success with their distance, and somewhere along the way, I chose their presence over my own progress. Jealousy in friendship operates differently than jealousy in romance. In romantic relationships, we expect a certain territorial intensity, a possessiveness that society has taught us to anticipate. But friendship jealousy wears the mask of concern, of protection, of loyalty. It disguises itself as caring when really it's control. It pretends to be support when actually it's suppression. The jealous friend masters the backhanded compliment. Great, you got the promotion, but won't it be too stressful? I'm happy you're in a relationship. I just hope they're good enough for you. Every celebration comes with a warning. Every achievement arrives with doubt. They're experts at shifting focus. You share something you're proud of, and within minutes, the conversation pivots to their struggles. Not naturally, but in a way that makes your joy feel selfish, like your light dims theirs instead of existing alongside it. And you learn to shrink. You lead with problems instead of victories. Present your life as harder than it is, because that's when they engage warmly. You discover their love feels most available when you're at their level or below, never when you're rising above. The psychology is both simple and complex. On the surface, it's about comparison and how culture taught us to measure worth against others. Underneath, it's about people who tied their identity so tightly to struggle that another person's ease feels like personal failure. Jealous friends often come from backgrounds where achievement was scarce, success conditional, love earned rather than given. They learned early that resources and validation were limited, so when you succeed, their brain registers it as loss. Your gain becomes their deficit in an economy that doesn't actually work that way. They operate from a scarcity mindset so deeply embedded they don't recognize it. In their internal world, there isn't enough success or happiness to go around. If you have it, they cannot. Your separate journeys become entangled until your victories feel like their defeats. This isn't an excuse for their behavior. Understanding the psychology doesn't mean accepting the pain it causes, but it helps explain why someone who cares about you can simultaneously resent your growth, trapped in a framework where love and envy exist in the same breath. The jealous friend has a story about why they haven't achieved what they wanted. Your success challenges that narrative. If you came from similar circumstances and succeeded, your achievement becomes evidence that perhaps their limitations are more internal than external. This realization is unbearable for someone who built their identity around struggles. It's easier to diminish your success than confront their role in their stagnation. Your growth becomes a mirror they cannot look into, so they develop strategies to manage discomfort. They minimize your achievements by attributing them to luck or privilege. Must be nice to have those connections. They rewrite your story to remove your agency, making success feel accidental rather than earned. Or they amplify obstacles that don't exist. They become prophets of doom, predicting failure where there's only possibility. I just worry this is too much for you. They plant seeds of doubt disguised as caution, making you question yourself before you begin. Some jealous friends become absurdly competitive. Everything becomes a comparison you never agreed to enter. You ran a 5K, they mention their marathons. You share a work project, they launch into their more impressive one. The conversation exhausts rather than connects. Others go silent, the most painful response. Your messages about good news go unanswered or get terse replies. They're suddenly too busy to celebrate but reappear with warmth when you're struggling. Their presence becomes conditional on your pain. I learned this pattern the hard way. Someone I considered a closest friend responded to my years-long achievement with one word: cool. No questions, no enthusiasm. Just cool, then silence. I made excuses at first. They were stressed, dealing with their own things. All true, but I'd been going through hard times too, and during those periods they were fully present. The variable wasn't their capacity for friendship, it was my level of success. That realization broke something open. Looking back through a different lens, the pattern was undeniable. Every time I was down, they lifted me up. Every time I was rising, they found reasons to pull me back with doubt, distance, and diminishment. The betrayal isn't dramatic. There's no explosive fight or clear villain. It's death by 1,000 small withdrawals, tiny moments where you realize their happiness for you is performative, strained. Your joy is something they tolerate rather than celebrate. Perhaps the hardest part is they often don't see it themselves. They're not plotting to undermine you. They genuinely believe they're supportive. The jealousy operates beneath conscious awareness, driving behavior they'd be horrified to recognize. This unconscious quality makes it almost impossible to address directly. If you name it, they'll deny it with genuine conviction. They'll be hurt and offended, and you'll feel like you're the problem, paranoid or ungrateful. But you're not making it up. Your nervous system picks up something real. That discomfort sharing good news with them, that hesitation before hitting send, that's your intuition protecting you, your body saying this person is not safe for your joy. Recognizing a jealous friend requires trusting your subtle perceptions over their explicit words. They might say they're happy while their energy communicates something different. They offer congratulations that land like accusations. You have to believe the feeling over the performance. You must trust the pattern over individual moments. One lukewarm response could be anything. A consistent pattern of lukewarm responses is something. One pivot could be distraction. A habit of redirecting every conversation back to their struggles is intentional, even if unconsciously. The question becomes, what do you do with this awareness? How do you maintain friendship with someone who cannot genuinely celebrate you? These aren't easy questions because jealous friends rarely arrive as villains. They're often people we love. Some people set boundaries around what they share. They stop offering their jealous friend access to victories, reserving celebrations for people who can hold them properly. They maintain the friendship in other areas but protect their joy from contamination. This approach works for some, particularly when the friendship has genuine value elsewhere, but it requires constant vigilance and editing of yourself. You must remember what you can and cannot share. It's exhausting and can feel less like friendship, more like performance. Others choose direct conversation, hoping naming the pattern creates space for change. I've noticed when I share good news, you seem distant, but when I'm struggling, you're very present. Can we talk about that? Sometimes this creates breakthrough moments of honest acknowledgement, but more often it creates defensiveness. The jealous friend feels attacked and brings up times they were supportive. You're left explaining a subtle emotional pattern to someone who cannot or will not see it. The conversation ends with you apologizing. There's a third option, clearest and most painful: distance. You slowly pull back from the friendship without drama. You stop initiating as much, respond with less depth, create space where intimacy used to live. You let the friendship shrink to a size that no longer requires you to shrink. This option carries its own grief. Even if someone cannot celebrate your wins, they may have been there for your losses. Friendship isn't binary. People can be both supportive and undermining, both genuine and jealous, both loving and limited. The hardest truth is some people can only love you at your lowest, not from malice, but because that's where they feel most valuable and secure. Your struggle gives them purpose. When you rise, they lose their role and don't know how to be a friend outside of being a rescuer. I had to accept this about someone I deeply loved. They were incredible when I was broken, showing up for every crisis. But when I started healing and stopped needing to be saved, they didn't know how to relate anymore. Our friendship was built on my dysfunction. Letting go was one of my most complicated griefs. I wasn't releasing someone cruel or obviously toxic, but someone who had genuinely helped me during impossible times. But I was also accepting their version of love required my suffering, and I could no longer pay that price. What I learned is that jealous friendship often masks something deeper than envy. It masks codependency, where one person needs the other to remain in a certain state to feel valuable. It masks enmeshment, where separate successes feel like personal threats. It also often masks the jealous friend's own deep self-abandonment. People who cannot celebrate others usually cannot celebrate themselves. They've internalized such harsh criticism that another person's achievement feels like evidence of their inadequacy rather than inspiration. If you recognize yourself as the jealous friend, this is your moment of reckoning. Ask yourself hard questions about why another person's success feels threatening, why their joy triggers discomfort, why you cannot hold space for their wins. Start by noticing the sensation in your body when a friend shares good news, tightness in your chest, clenching in your stomach, a voice that jumps to comparison. Don't judge these reactions, just notice them. They're data about the stories you tell yourself. Then ask what you're making their success mean about you. Are you interpreting their achievement as evidence of your failure? Are you believing there's only room for one person to win? These are lies, but they're powerful lies that shape behavior. The antidote to jealousy isn't pretending you feel happy when you don't. It's doing internal work to recognize that someone else's path has nothing to do with yours. Their timeline is not your timeline. Their light does not require your darkness. This work requires confronting your own relationship with achievement, examining where you learned that worth was earned rather than inherent. These are usually childhood lessons from parents, schools, or cultures that pit people against each other. You'll need to actively practice celebrating others, even when uncomfortable, not with fake enthusiasm, but genuine curiosity. Ask questions about their journey. Let their experience be fully theirs without making it about your life. This practice rewires the brain's comparison habit. You'll also need to build your own sense of accomplishment, independent of how it measures up to others. What are you proud of compared to who you were a year ago? This is the foundation of genuine self-worth. And you'll need to get honest about how your jealousy has damaged relationships. Not to drown in shame, but to take responsibility. Have you been distant when friends needed celebration? Acknowledging this creates possibility for different choices moving forward. If you're dealing with jealousy, you deserve to have your wins celebrated without caveat. You deserve people who can hold your joy as fully as your pain. You deserve friendships where success is met with genuine enthusiasm, where growth inspires rather than threatens. This doesn't mean every friend needs to parade every achievement. It means the people closest to you should be fundamentally on your side, rooting for your happiness. Their baseline should be celebration, not tolerance. Their default should be support, not skepticism. Pay attention to how you feel after sharing good news with different friends. With some, you'll feel energized and validated. With others, you'll feel deflated or guilty. These emotional responses are crucial information about who deserves access to your vulnerable celebrations. It's okay to have different friends for different aspects of life. Some friends are incredible for processing pain, but less equipped for celebrating wins. This isn't friendship failure, it's realistic assessment of people's capacities. But if you have friends who consistently cannot be present for your joy, who repeatedly make your success about their struggle, you have to ask what you're gaining from maintaining full intimacy. What cost are you paying, and is it worth it? Sometimes the cost is worth it, particularly with old friends or family where history creates bonds that transcend current dynamics. But sometimes the cost is too high, and staying fully connected means continually betraying yourself, continually making yourself smaller. You might discover that stepping back creates space for you to stop performing. You no longer manage their feelings about your life or preface good news with disclaimers. You no longer diminish your light to make them comfortable. The relief can be profound. I remember the first time I shared good news with friends after creating distance from my jealous friendship. I didn't preface with apologies or minimize the significance. I just shared openly, and they celebrated with me. I realized how long I'd been holding my breath. That's what jealous friendship steals, the ability to breathe fully into your own joy. You become so accustomed to managing reactions that you forget what it feels like to simply be happy without qualification. You forget celebration can be uncomplicated. Reclaiming that ease requires conscious practice. You have to unlearn the habit of shrinking. You have to retrain yourself to believe your achievements are worth celebrating, that your growth is inherently valuable. This is harder than it sounds because self-diminishment runs deep. Start small. Share something you're proud of without immediately following with a self-deprecating comment or balancing problem. Notice the urge to minimize. Let that urge pass through without acting on it. Sit with the discomfort of taking up space with your joy. Watch how safe people respond. Friends who can hold your wins without making them about themselves, who ask follow-up questions, who reflect your excitement. These are your people. The ones who go silent or find problems are showing you who they are. Believe them. You'll also need to grieve the friendship you thought you had. There's real loss here. You're mourning the fantasy of unconditional support, the hope that they would grow with you, the belief your bond could transcend their discomfort. These are legitimate griefs. Allow yourself to feel angry too. Anger is appropriate when someone we trusted with vulnerability uses it against us. You don't have to maintain endless compassion for someone whose limitations hurt you. You can understand their psychology and still be angry about their impact. The anger gets complicated because jealous friends rarely do anything obviously wrong. There's no concrete betrayal, no smoking gun, just a pattern of small withdrawals and lukewarm responses. This makes the anger feel unreasonable even when it's absolutely justified. You might think, they never actually did anything bad. Maybe I'm overreacting or too sensitive. These thoughts are how you gaslight yourself into accepting less than you deserve. The absence of obvious cruelty doesn't mean the presence of genuine support. What jealous friendship teaches you is that you cannot control other people's capacity to celebrate you. Some people still won't be able to show up for your success. Not because you've done something wrong, but because your wins trigger their unhealed pain. This realization is both liberating and devastating. Liberating because you can stop trying to manage their reactions. Devastating because it means accepting that love isn't always enough to overcome someone's internal barriers. You learn to find your celebration elsewhere. You build a circle of people who can genuinely hold your joy. You stop expecting emotional labor from people who cannot provide it, and stop offering your most vulnerable moments to people who cannot protect them. This curation isn't about creating an echo chamber of empty praise. It's about surrounding yourself with people secure enough to be genuinely happy for you, people whose own worth isn't threatened by your growth. These friendships exist. People who will text to ask how the presentation went, who remember interviews you mentioned, who check in on your dreams. People whose default is curiosity and support, not competition and comparison. When you experience this after years of jealous friendship, the contrast is stunning. You realize how much energy you spent managing someone else's reactions. You recognize how much smaller you'd made yourself. You see clearly what you'd been accepting as normal. You might feel guilt about this recognition. Part of you might think you should try harder or give another chance. After all, they weren't all bad. And all of that can be true, while it's also true the friendship had become toxic for you. Honoring the complexity means holding both truths. They genuinely cared about you in their limited way, and their limitations hurt you in real ways. You can be grateful for what they gave while recognizing what they couldn't provide. Sometimes jealous friends will notice your distance and reach out, asking what's wrong or saying they miss you. These moments are delicate. You have to decide whether honest conversation is worth it, whether they can hear you, whether enough foundation remains to rebuild. If you choose honesty, be specific. Don't make vague accusations about jealousy. Point to patterns. When I share good news, you often change the subject or go quiet. When I'm struggling, you're very engaged. I need friends present for both. Make it about impact, not intention. Their response will tell you everything. Do they get defensive and list supportive moments? Do they turn it around, making you the problem? Or do they sit with the feedback and express genuine willingness to examine their behavior? Most will do the former, but even if they acknowledge it, change is slow and requires their active commitment. They'll need to do their own work around scarcity mindset and self-worth. You cannot do that work for them, and you cannot stay in a harmful dynamic indefinitely waiting. The deeper lesson extends beyond individual relationships. It reveals something about how our culture teaches us to relate to success. We're raised in systems that pit us against one another, conditioning us to see someone else's win as our loss. From childhood, we're ranked and compared. In school, grades are often curved, creating artificial scarcity. In work, promotions are limited and competitive. We learn that achievement is a zero-sum game, that for someone to rise, someone else must fall. This conditioning runs so deep, we often don't recognize how it shapes relationships. We carry competitive frameworks into spaces that should be collaborative and abundant. We treat friendship like a competition we never signed up for. Breaking this pattern requires conscious resistance to these cultural messages. It means actively practicing abundance mindset, repeatedly reminding yourself that someone else's success doesn't diminish your possibilities. It means celebrating others even when your life feels stagnant. It means building friendships based on something other than shared struggle. So many friendships form in the trenches, bonded by mutual pain. These bonds are valuable, but they become fragile when circumstances change or when one person heals first. The strongest friendships can hold both struggle and success, pain and joy. They're rooted in genuine appreciation for who each person is, not what state they're in. They're based on shared values and authentic connection, not just temporary alignment of circumstances. If you're rebuilding your social circle after recognizing jealous friendship, look for people who demonstrate genuine enthusiasm for others. Watch how they talk about mutual friends' successes. Do they celebrate without caveat or comparison? These patterns predict how they'll treat you. Look for people who have a secure sense of their own worth. They have insecurities like everyone, but they've done enough work that they're not constantly measuring their value against others. They know someone else shining doesn't dim their light. Look for people who ask questions. Genuine curiosity is one of the clearest signs of someone who can hold space for your experience without making it about themselves. When you share something exciting, do they ask follow-ups or immediately launch into their own story? And look for people who have their own lives and goals they're invested in. People actively working on their own growth are less likely to be threatened by yours. They're too busy with their own path to spend energy resenting yours. As you cultivate healthier friendships, be intentional about not repeating patterns you experienced. It's easy to become hypervigilant, protecting your joy so intensely you never fully share it. But this creates its own problems. Healthy friendship requires vulnerability, including the vulnerability of sharing what matters to you. You have to risk being celebrated poorly to discover who celebrates you well. This is the gamble of connection. Sometimes people won't show up. When you find people who consistently show up well, tell them, say explicitly, "I appreciate how you celebrated with me," or "It meant a lot you remembered to ask." Naming it specifically strengthens the bond and encourages more of the behavior you value. You might also need to be the friend you wish you'd had. When others share wins, practice meeting them with full enthusiasm. Notice if you feel competitive twinges and let them pass. Ask questions that show genuine interest. Be the presence you needed. This practice has a circular effect. The more you celebrate others authentically, the more you reinforce your own abundance mindset. You train your brain to see others' success as inspiring rather than threatening. You create the culture you want to live in. There's also something powerful about being on the other side of jealous friendship, having survived it and come through with clearer boundaries and deeper self-knowledge. You develop sensitivity to these dynamics that allows you to spot them earlier and protect yourself faster. You learn that maintaining friendship with someone who can't celebrate you requires constant self-betrayal, and that this cost is too high regardless of history. You understand that love isn't measured by longevity, but by mutual capacity to hold each other's full humanity. You recognize that choosing yourself over a harmful dynamic isn't selfish, it's necessary. That creating distance from people who diminish you isn't mean, it's self-preservation. That you can honor what someone once meant while accepting what they offer now isn't enough. This knowledge becomes part of how you navigate all relationships. You're less willing to shrink yourself to accommodate others' discomfort. You're more aware of patterns that require you to play small. You're clearer about what you need from friendship. The grief of jealous friendship doesn't disappear completely. You might still think about them sometimes, wonder if they've changed, feel sad about what could have been. This is normal and doesn't mean you made the wrong choice. You can miss someone and still know distance was necessary. What replaces the grief gradually is deeper appreciation for the friendships that work, for people who meet your wins with genuine enthusiasm, for relationships where you don't have to manage anyone's reactions, for connections that allow you to breathe fully and celebrate openly. You also develop a deeper relationship with yourself, one where you no longer need external validation to enjoy your own achievements, where you can celebrate your wins quietly and internally, where your worth is rooted in your own values rather than others' recognition. This doesn't mean you stop wanting celebration from others. Humans are social creatures. We need witnesses to our joy. But you stop requiring it from people who can't provide it, and you stop shrinking your happiness to match someone else's capacity. In the end, the psychology of the jealous friend teaches you about the psychology of genuine friendship. It shows you, through painful contrast, what real support looks like. It forces you to get clear about what you deserve and brave enough to claim it. And it reminds you that the most important relationship is the one with yourself, the one that refuses to shrink no matter who's watching.